Hello everyone, Michael Mechanical here today, and this is a bit of an update slash, it could be upsetting, it could be good, it could be bad, sort of a video. So, we knew for a long time coming something was going to happen. We knew how much money we had to spend on the other motor to get it finished, and we knew what the project was going to cost and what we were doing. Now, I'm not going to turn the key or anything, but I'm going to just give you a look and see, because there's nothing really to see, but still, the story goes, we knew for a long time that something was going to go wrong eventually. It has bad liners, it has bad rings, we didn't know when or what was going to go wrong, we still don't know what's wrong with it. But today, the things that were going through my mind, the things that I noticed, I was on a highway doing 110, and this was about an hour or two before anything actually officially happened, so I'd say I was predicting it was going to happen. So, on this highway, doing 110 kilometers per hour, I'm thinking and I'm smelling. I have the window down a little bit, sit in the car, driving it, and I can smell the smell, and it reminds me of when you're putting oil on the cutter, when you're machining something in the lathe, and it just had that smell to it. And that's what I was smelling from my engine, and I knew it was my engine. I knew it wasn't no one else's. I knew it was mine, because I knew what my car smelled like and everything. And what went through my mind as I was smelling that and thinking about it, I was thinking and I was feeling like, it's probably now the rings are catching on the cylinder walls and probably going to go kaboom any day now, or any minute, or whatever could happen any time now, because I could smell it. Now, nothing happened on the highway. Got off, got to a pickup location where I was going to pick up some parts. Well, I wasn't necessarily going to pick up any parts, I hadn't paid for them, I was planning to buy them. And those parts were another flywheel and another starter motor, so my story hasn't been unpacked yet. So there's two flywheels in here. That's the one I originally had from the Pajero. They apparently seem the same. I'm stuffy nose because I've run and there's pollen in the air. And there's the starter motor. So that's the starter motor. That's not the flywheel. The one underneath is the flywheel hiding there. Let me just kick it because I don't want to get my hands dirty yet. But there you go. There's your second flywheel. That's the one I just bought. And this is the one that I already had. And there's the starter motor. So that was the second place I was going today. Anyway, I was coming from the speed shop in Rosewater, where I picked up some banjo fittings. So I achieved everything I set out to do in my car today. So lucky me. I went out, I bought some banjo fittings that I needed to fit all my pipes to the new engine. I'm still looking for the side. Still looking for the pipe on the side. I'm digressing, but I'm looking for this pipe still. A good condition, brand new one, essentially. Or getting one made up, hopefully. So, that happens. And after buying a flywheel and the starter motor, coming back, I broke down, I went around a roundabout, and as I was getting ready to exit, I just heard one loud bang come out of my engine. And I think it was as I was putting my foot down, just slightly coming out of the roundabout, I just heard one big loud bang. And when the car went bang, the harmonics were off. It was still running, and it was still driving fine, sort of. And I got up to the lights, and it just wouldn't idle anymore. It was done idling. It could have shut down on me then and there if it wanted to. So normally my car would rev at 700 to 800 RPM, depending on how it wants to run. It ran from up there near the 800 mark, and it dropped down to like the 600 and 400 mark there. It was just idling sporadically. It was like up and then it was down, and it was like it seemed like it was cutting down. It sounds it could be injector pump. It could be in the injector pump because of fuel to air ratio, and how if the fuel's not pumping quite right, it's going to do this, and it could be electronics related if it's that, but that's it. And then mechanically speaking, if the pistons and the rings have gone, it's not going to idle right. It's going to make the loud bang. But it was just one bang, so, and then the harmonics of the engine just sounded wrong. Getting to the lights though, when it was running, it just sounded fine. It was just running erratically. It didn't want to idle. So my hypothesis is potentially 2 to 3 ideas. One, the injection pump just destroyed itself internally, and it's always a mechanical issue with this diesel, because it's a diesel and it's all mechanical. Now, one hypothesis is injection pump. That's the, best case scenario is the injection pump just blew up internally and the rest of the engine's fine. Worst case scenario, which is number 3, was your pistons and rings just blew up in the engine. I don't know what the next case was. I think there was only 2 cases that it could possibly be. But my roller rockers and all that are in one piece. They're not broken or anything. So I don't think it was major engine damage that was caused. I didn't want to take a chance on it. So I decided, hey, I'm going to stop the engine. I'm not going to push it any further. I'm not going to try and push my car home. So I stopped the car, I turned the hazard lights, called the REA. They came after a while. I'm losing track of this story. I turned off the car, turned on the hazard lights, called the REA. People pulled over and offered to help. I had a lady help me. She wanted me to push it into a turning off lane, so we did that. And we were taking guidance from the REA because I didn't want to do anything wrong. We did that. It was better for the traffic. She wanted me to actually push it backwards to the side of the road, and I just saw there's a danger because there's too many cars coming that direction, doing 60. It was unsafe and wise to do so. It wasn't going to be possible to push it off to the side of the road there. So we pushed it into the turning off lane. From there, we just left it there, and then she took off. I didn't thank her, sorry. I should have thanked that lady. She was nice for helping me. She was the only one that pulled over at that point. Then after straight after she started leaving, a guy pulled over and he wanted to help me push her around the corner, and then his mates just happened to be driving by. He's like, hey, can you help us push this car? And the guy's like, well, I'm just going to the pub, it's just around the corner. Oh, why not? It's just a small walkway. They helped me push it. They thought it was going to be easy to push. Once we got it up, we pushed it around, they pushed it around the corner. I steered it. It was friggin' heavy steering because no power steering was on. Pushed it around there, got it up the driveway to where the petrol station is, and then we pushed it backwards into a car park. Mate, they admitted this thing is heavy. I told everyone it's got an LSD in the back. It's a hard car to push, and they were like, man, that was harder than I expected to push. Yep, it's a hard car to push. It's got a very powerful LSD in the back. Very powerful. I had no idea how strong this is. It's probably still in really good condition. That's why it's so powerful. But people think easy to push this car. It's it's diesel. It's gutless. It's this. It's that. It's freaking gutsy. Anyway, pushed it there. RA came out. They checked it. They told me they weren't going to turn the key because they were thinking, yeah, we could turn the key and see what happens. But I said, if there's something gone wrong, which I know the things that could go wrong with this engine, if they have gone wrong, we're just going to do more damage than good. I need to actually diagnose what's gone wrong here. And so the REA said you could pull the glow plugs out and see how easy it is to turn over the motor by hand and see if anything happens. I know you can break stuff at the top end doing that too, which is bad. Turn it over by hand like that. Then there was nothing else I can think of that he said. So I'll leave it at that. That's all I can think of at the moment. I'm not sure what the condition of that injector pump is. I know we stuffed up mine. We broke it. I don't know if it works or not because Dad rebuilt it. It's going to cost me $1,800 to rebuild that pump. I almost would have been able to afford it, but I had to spend money on some other things, and then I lost the money to spend on the injection pump recon. That's all that's currently stopping me from realistically doing the other engine. Other than that, I'm just waiting on some other little bits like the manifold, the exhaust manifold, some protectors, heat shields, and some other little things, even that pipe around the side of the block. And then it's pretty much ready to put together and build, and hopefully it will be a good engine. I have no idea how it's going to work with the MLS. I've never tried an MLS. Anything could happen, but I wouldn't expect an MLS head gasket to go. And by the sounds of what I heard, there was also the possibility that the head gasket actually blew out the side of the block. But there was no smoke. There's no smoke coming outside the block. No smoke coming out of the what do you call the area? It's no smoke coming out of the oil cap. Nothing getting blown out the side of the block or anything. Nothing happened. It was still running like spinning, turning over fine at the lights, except for the fact that it was running like crap. So, best case scenario, injection pump just failed. Worst case scenario, the engine's blown up some pistons. Okay, that's what I think it is anyway. Let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's minor, because we can always get another injection pump and throw it on here and use that for a little bit longer. But we also got another injection pump. Don't know how good it is, but it's possible to use the other injection pump if it's just an injection pump. Oh, man, I am so sick of the pollen and the hay fever and stuff. I'm going to have to use my Lauder team. It's disgusting. And especially when you have to run or drive a car, it gets annoying because you have to keep doing that stuff all the time. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your support. I still need to save up a lot of money to fix this. But the thing is, that's the point. That's the problem. When you're driving your car, you don't have a job. This is how my life has been for years. And, you know, there's these guys during the coronavirus pandemic that are like, you know, we don't have work, we don't have money. And then there's some people that are spending money on their project cars. The thing is, even though there's the coronavirus, it hasn't affected me in any significant way. In some ways, it helped me because it made it a little bit more easy to get this done. But I don't have work, so yeah. And when it comes down to losing that supplement money, I want to have a job. And the problem is, I can't work if I don't have a job, and there's no work. I have a job, it's got no hours. I'm not getting any work. And so imagine taking away all the benefits I've already gotten. Imagine me having to pay them back. This car wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have it. I'd be just me. I might not even... well, there's a possibility I might have my computer. There's a possibility I might not. Because I did earn money back then that I think I spent on it and built it. Then I have the Tartar there that has a busted turbo. Anything can happen. I'm wondering who that yellow car was. I reckon it was an RAA car. I wonder. Nope, it's a lone driver. I was just wondering. But yeah, this is now broken. But I won't give up on it because it's done me well. And that's why I love this car. It's done so freaking well. And you know, you guys might look at this car and say, I give you $600 for it, $1,000. You don't know when it's going to break down. We knew this day was coming, and that's why it's like, you know, I've been planning for it. That's why I'm putting together a new engine. I want the reliability, I don't want the breakdowns. This thing has not broken down once. The only time it broke down was at home when the starter motor fell apart in the car. That happened. That was the only time that this actually officially broke down. The other time it broke down, I stuffed up, so it wasn't really a breakdown. The injection pump wasn't working, all because this plug wasn't in. When that plug was in, it just wouldn't run. So it's got a weird circuitry that the alternator's not working. It's just not going to run. Other than that, this is an actual failure. This is an actual failure. It's not related to any stuff-ups of my own. This is now, you know, naturally what's come about. This isn't forced. This is not intentional failure. This is natural failure. So this is something where you have to now study what could have gone wrong, what is broken, what has gone and failed. I don't know what's failed. If I knew what had failed, then, you know, it'd be easy to say, hey, the pump failed. Hey, the bottom end pistons failed. No, this is about now pulling it down a little bit. Trying not to pull off the head. I don't want to pull off the head unless I absolutely have to. Because I hate pulling off the head and doing the head gaskets over and over again. That's why I haven't put any coolant in the system, because I knew this day was going to come. And I'm saving money. I don't know what's up with the dogs making all that noise. Okay, well, anyway, guys. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for watching. My nose is just annoying me. I've now got to do the other car, get that going, put it on the road. This thing is now disabled. It can still be put on the road, sure, but it's not drivable. It can't be driven. It's broken. And until I fix what's broken, it's not going to move again. And I really want to fix this. I really want to put the new engine in here, but I want to take my time with it. I don't want to rush it because I don't want this happening again. I want this to be the end of my problems. I want it to never happen again. And you know, the chance of this happening again is pretty high at this point. It's why I'm building the other engines, why I'm putting so much money into it, because once that's done, I will not have to think about this stuff unless I'm like, I want to work on an engine, I want to build something. Then it's a want, not a need. I need to build the other engine, so I'm doing it in a want fashion. I want to build that engine right, so I'm taking my time. I'm doing whatever I can, as right as I can, as well as I can. Trying to fix up other people's stuff-ups, and hopefully not stuffing up myself. I have stuffed up myself. But the thing is, I've fixed those stuff-ups, I've rectified them. Everything's getting rectified every time I stuff up. There's no point in rushing something. No point. Guys, if your car is going to break down on you, make a decision. Do you want to push it and drive it into the ground? Or has it done you really well that you want to keep it going? My car's done me so well, and I know what the factor of reliability is going to be when I put a new motor in this, when I put a new gearbox in it. The thing is, the biggest potential failure in this car is not even the engine. The biggest potential failure, the weakest link in this car is the gearbox. And I've read all about the gearboxes failing. They fail 40,000 kilometers after a rebuild. You know, mine's done over 50,000 now. It's probably done 60, 70,000. It still hasn't broken down. And we rebuilt this with a rebuilt gearbox. We pulled a rebuild apart and put it all into this with a buggered up housing. And I had help. And I'm surprised it still works. It is still working really strong, really well, fairly smooth. It sucked in the beginning. It was very hard to change for gears. It was crunchy as all hell. But it could have been just naturally I was bad at driving a manual. Now, the thing when I drive it well, it's perfect. There's nothing flawed about this gearbox. It works well. The problem is the engine output shaft. Like the engine input shaft goes into the back of the block, and then that shaft has another shaft that goes inside of it, and then everything's a bit flexy there, and then there's a bearing here, and the bearing tends to be the thing that fails on those engines, on this transmission. And when that goes, everything's all wonky inside and wearing irregularly, and it just causes issues. But that's the weakest link in this gearbox, that specific assembly section. That shaft at the front failing causes a whole lot more to go. So thank you all for watching, thank you all for joining in. I really appreciate any support you guys can give me. I gotta actually try and get another job, and I gotta focus on getting the white one going now. I got no choice. So thank you all for watching, thank you for your support. I'm not gonna crack this thing over. Gonna put down the picture that is from the park and leave it at that. Take care everyone, and look after your cars, keep them serviced, know what's gonna go wrong, and plan ahead and be ready for it. If you can be, that is. Unlike me, I'm not ready for it because I still have an injection pump that I got to get done. I still have to wait for my exhaust manifold. I still have to get a new pipe. And then there's potentially even hoses. I think I'm going to use these hoses that are in here, but they've done they've done almost 100,000. Maybe I'll just replace all the hoses. I actually no. I don't think these hoses have done 100,000, but it's possible. No, we'll replace them when we do the engine if they're worth replacing. You know, if I can afford it, that is. Until then, thank you for watching. This is Michael Mechanical. I'm signing out, and I'm going to get back to work. Take care, everyone.